The game Bendy and the Ink Machine is a game that I had no idea that I would love so much. I remember it was like, I don't know, I think it was like 5-6 years ago. I just was looking on the Nintendo eShop in the horror section, just typed in the search bar horror, and I was just going through the games when Bendy and the Ink Machine came up as an option, and it had a demo to it, and I just fell in love with the game. Like, the horror concept to it, like, just exploring this abandoned animation studio with the graphics and the animation itself feeling like it's a cartoon from the 1930s, which the whole studio made cartoons back in that era. It has a cartoon feeling to it that's based on the Steamboat Willie. At least that's in my opinion. That's what it looks like with the whole black and white and the mix of horror element to it. I just loved Bendy and the Ink Machine. I thought it was an amazing, perfect game that could not be topped by any other horror game in the series that it was based on. But turns out, as usual, I was wrong about gaming. Like, with how successful Bendy and the Ink Machine was, there was, without a doubt, going to be a sequel going to be released. And there's been like Bendy and I think like The Lone Wolf, or there's been a couple like Bendy mobile games that I know, but of a direct sequel, which was Bendy and the Dark Revival, for a long time that was only released on PC, and unfortunately I'm not the biggest fan of playing on the PC. Like, I prefer handheld, getting physical games that I can actually hold and have something to put into a cartridge, like a Nintendo Switch game with a case. Those things I prefer over the PC. But to my great enjoyment, we got the news and the confirmation that Bendy and the Dark Revival was coming both to the Nintendo Switch and to the PlayStation 5, which I got, of course. With Bendy and the Dark Revival on the PlayStation 5, and I started playing it, I was expecting great things out of this game right from the start, and lucky me, I wasn't disappointed in this. The game starts out with you playing as this character named Audrey, and she's just this animator for the Nathan Arch Studios, which animate for the Joey Drew Studios, which are the ones that made the Bendy and the Gang cartoon. And right at the beginning, it's just amazing. Like, it's a first person point of view, so you're playing as Audrey, but it's so cool to be able to explore this animation studio. And right from the very beginning, you were introduced to one of the creepiest characters of the game. He's like just a janitor for the studio, but his name is Wilson, and he has like this, like, the left side of his face is just rotting away, and he talks in this super creepy tone. He's like, "Well, my dear, welcome. I'm sorry I might have frightened you, but it looks like we're both working the night shift tonight." He just gives this stalker vibe off to him, but at the same time, you're just interested in his character. So the creators of Bendy and the Ink Machine really did a good job in character development in this game, which is pretty cool. What I love is that there are so many references in this game to the first Bendy and the Ink Machine. I mean, Audrey follows Wilson to the basement of the animation studio, where Wilson, like, sends Audrey on this whole shopping list thing. Like, what Henry had to do in Bendy and the Ink Machine in order to reveal the Ink Machine, he had to collect those items, put them on the pedestals, and then the Ink Machine was revealed. That's how this is. I mean, Audrey, she goes on this list to collect this, like, little plushie, like a record, and just like different random items to put on pedestals. But it's revealed that the ink machine is still around, and Wilson, he believes that their purpose is to go into the ink world, so he drags Audrey into the ink machine with him. And that begins the journey of Bendy and the Dark Revival. It's intense and awesome. What's fun for me through the gameplay of this was the nostalgic feeling it gave me. Like, it was just fun to be able to go back into this game and to be able to explore the animated world of the animation studio that's inside the ink machine world. And it's just really fun. Like, there's different things that have been added to it. The graphics have greatly been improved from the first Bendy and the Ink Machine. Bendy and the Dark Revival has definitely improved on that. I will give it that. But it still has the same jump scares. And it's just really cool, though, to see the old characters from the first game return to this one. Like, there's a jump scare at the very beginning where Audrey runs into a member of the Butcher gang, and once she hides from it and comes out and gains health, she runs into Alice and Angel, and it was so cool. Like, the very first time I saw Alice and Angel again, I'm like, hey, I know this character. It's cool to see her again in this game. It is awesome. I just love the nostalgic feeling of this game. Really cool to have. I would say the biggest difference about this game and the previous one was the stealth. With the first one, I feel like you did have to be stealthy, but it was more like Henry, like, just trying to figure out what's going on, how he can get back out of the studio, and occasionally he will run into enemies to fight. And with this one, it's more just Audrey sneaking around trying to avoid these ink creatures called the Lost Ones, and it definitely has more horror, like the same horror elements added to it. Like, you know, in the first one, how there would be writing on the walls, how it would be like, the creator lied to us, or the puddles are calling. It would have the same kind of writing on Bendy and the Dark Revival, but what was creepy is that you would find some writing, like open a cabinet, and it would say like turn around. And once you did that, you rotated the camera around, and then if you would see nothing, you would rotate it back, and the writing would change to, we can see you. It was those type of things that really creep you out. Like, it's not jump scares or anything like that, or too violent elements to it, but it's just the feeling that you're being watched the entire time you're trying to escape the animation studio. That's what makes it a horror game, which is really intense. Plus, it's really fun just sneaking around the studio. Later in the game, Audrey gets this power in her left hand, where if she touches one of the lost souls, she can, like, banish it, which banishes it back to the puddles, which is really cool to see. When she touches it, it just, like, does a Thanos snap thing and disintegrates. It's really cool. It's fun to avoid these lost souls, to either fight them with your weapons you're using, or if you're successful in sneaking up on them, you can just banish them. That's a really cool aspect of the game that when I first saw that in the trailer, I'm like, oh, that is so cool. I want to do that so bad in the game. And my expectations for it were beyond met. I love doing that. So cool. So, if you played the first one, you know that Bendy is the ink demon, and his character in this is so creepy. Like, there are times when you'll be sneaking around the studio and unexpectedly the entire screen will go gray and the controller you're holding will like rumble, and the words on the screen will say the ink demon is approaching, hide. And if you don't find somewhere to hide in time, you only have like 10 seconds to find somewhere to hide. And if you don't find somewhere to hide, it is freaking intense, because Bendy will have different ways of killing Audrey. Like, there will be one time where it'll appear in front of Audrey, and she'll just cover her eyes, and then she'll like open her eyes again, and Bendy will be gone, and then she'll turn around and he'll be there and he'll kill her. It is intense. The very first time it's very scary too, because she just turns around and he's right there, so she's running down this hallway while Bendy's chasing her, and she locks this door with his arm like still in the door, and eventually he like slides it out. It's very, very intense. It's a very feeling of drama, which again is what makes this a horror game, which I love. Plus, like in the first one, it is scary seeing Bendy, but it just doesn't have the same feeling of intensity as Bendy and the Dark Revival has. Especially since he can speak to Audrey in this game, where when Bendy, whatever, he would never speak to Henry. But Bendy, as the ink demon, he would speak to Audrey, which is really creepy. Another thing that I love that Bendy and the Dark Revival changed is the way that the health works in this. In the Bendy and the Ink Machine, I feel like it never really showed how much health Henry had. Like, I think depending on the enemy, he could take like 2, 3, 4 hits and then he would be dead. With Audrey, it shows how much health she has, it shows how much stamina she has, and you can find these little containers of ink which she can use to power up her health and her stamina and how strong her weapons can get. And some of the lost souls, which aren't actually evil, like if you help them out, like there's this one lost soul named Porter, and he's stuck in this this pipe. Once you help him out, he gives you this power that like lets you teleport to short distances across the room that you can use to go across gaps and stuff, which is really cool and really useful. And I just love Porter in this game. Like, I wish there was more of him, because he's like, oh, your name is Audrey. That name doesn't really fit you in my opinion. I'm gonna call you Bobby. We'll see you around, Bobby. Have a good day, Bobby. Thanks for helping me, Bobby. He's a great character. I liked him a lot. The only thing that really disappointed me was the boss fights. Like, the same Bendy and the Ink Machine only had like 2 or 3 bosses through the whole game. With this, it only had like, I think it had like 5 or 6 bosses, which is kind of cool, but they're not fun. I mean, the very first boss you fight at the bottom of the animation studio, which is just this like little plant spider thing, which is pretty stupid. Like, it just looks like this little plant bulb with a mouth, but with like extra legs. It has like 6 legs or something. Audrey just has to kill its babies, and once she does that, it'll drop to the ceiling where she can kill it. All the while she's trying to hit these levers with her pipe to get the elevator back up moving. It's just not a very interesting boss fight, sadly. That's like my #1 regret about this game that I can complain about. Just, the boss fights are kind of stupid. But what's really cool is that near the end of the game, like chapter 5, as Audrey is getting closer to finding Wilson and understanding what's actually going on in the studio, what this place is, what the cycle has to do with everything, how to defeat the Ink Demon, Audrey actually meets Joey Drew. And Joey Drew, basically, I think he's based on Walt Disney. He even has the same kind of character design as Walt Disney, but I almost just called Joey Drew Walt Disney. Joey, he like kind of guides Audrey through the studio. He tells her what this whole thing about, what his dream was, and how he was tricked by different people. He was just a man who wanted to create something that everyone would enjoy. And it's just kind of cool. Like, you were kind of wanting to meet Joey Drew. in Bendy and the Ink Machine, which you kind of do at the very end of that game. But it's kind of cool for Audrey to meet this character who created the world of Bendy and the Butcher Gang and everyone. It was kind of cool. I highly enjoyed seeing Joey Drew in this game. A really cool decision that the developers made to add this character into that game. I thought it was cool. So, before the final chapter of the, or maybe it is during the final chapter, Audrey takes on Alice Angel, which Alice Angel is different. Like, if you play the first one, you'll understand. Like, the reason there's two Alice Angels is because the voice actress for the first Alice Angel, she ended up getting fired, and she was replaced by this other person that continued doing the voicing for Alice Angel. So it's like this Alice Angel that's evil, she's like corrupted, so her entire like appearance is morphed, like the left side of her face, and the boss fight with her is actually pretty intense. It has two phases with her boss fight. Like the first boss fight, she is insane, man. Like she has Audrey tied to this table where it's she's on an electric chair, and there's these other people at this table. And it's this whole puzzle thing where the people give you clues, where you find this little like rotator thing with different pictures of animals that you gotta rearrange correctly. And Alice is like, when Audrey asks what Alice wants, she's just like, I want to be beautiful! I want a face like yours! I want to be the angel that Joey Drew always wanted! And it's so creepy. Once you believe you got the right code for the puzzle, Alice will pull the switch, the characters that are on the table beside Audrey will fry, but Audrey will live. And the second phase, you're just trying to banish Allison, and you're just running around on this ground while Alice is on this balcony shooting this Tommy gun. It's really creepy. She dies by the good Alice Angel stabbing her in the chest, similar to Alice, how Alice killed Alice, the bad Alice in the first one. And it even makes a callback to that. Like, Allison goes, why does this feel so familiar? So, you can tell it's a continuation of the first cycle that has led into this game to continue the cycle, or it's a redo of the cycle just with a different character. But either way, it's pretty creepy but fun at the same time. The last section of the game, you get the final boss, which turns out to be like a crab version of Wilson, and it's kind of cool at the start. Like, you're just in the mansion where Wilson lives, and you just do these different tasks like playing piano for a fish, or you're just like, that's how you run into the evil Alice Angel. And just the boss fight with evil Wilson's kind of interesting. Like, it's Sailor Wilson, like he has this horrible death. Like, he's trying to kill Audrey just because he believes that killing her will be able to help him defeat Bendy, the ink demon. But Audrey pushes him into this machine, which basically cuts up Wilson into little bits and pieces. And it's pretty gruesome because, like, the ink splattering everywhere, which is supposed to be blood, and the machine says that the offering has been accepted. And you go into this room where you see that Wilson has morphed into this giant creature. And after you beat Wilson, Bendy shows up, and he's just like, Audrey, why do you deny your fate? Join me. You are broken. I can make you whole. And the very last section is the section of Audrey combined with Bendy. And it's kind of cool. It's just you're playing as Bendy in his ink demon form, going through the factory. You can destroy these lost souls that are trying to destroy Audrey that are inside of Bendy. It's kind of fun just playing as Audrey smashing through the doors, and as you're working your way through the factory as Audrey, in Bendy's body. You got like Allison and Tom the Fox. They're just trying to hold off the lost ones as he get through the end of the factory. And Bendy, he's like, "You cannot stop the cycle. It will happen over and over again." And Audrey's just like, "Well, we're just gonna have to do better next time." And she hits the end. She starts the projector that has the film The End, which stops the cycle at that moment. The whole thing is pretty stupid, but at least he got to control Ink Demon Bendy, which was pretty fun. So the game ends with Audrey back in the real world. She says that she's not giving up on the Ink dimension though. She's going to be trying her best over and over again to make the cycle something peaceful for her friends in the other world to live in. And it's pretty cool because of that, like, you actually see what Henry looks like right before the end of the game. He looks like this man that's dressed in, like, the Civil War era. But it was kind of cool to actually see what Henry looks like. I thought that was cool. And plus, you get to see Bendy come with Audrey into the real world. Because, like, I guess the Ink world is slowly merging with the real world, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it was a really cool game. I highly enjoyed it. So that was it for Bendy and the Dark Revival. I thought it was a great game. It was really fun in my opinion. There is talk that the third one is coming out, Bendy and the Ink Factory, which I'm really excited for because there's parts in Bendy and the Dark Revival where you see that it's just not confined to the studio that the Ink world is based on, but there's an entire Ink city with like ink shops, everything like that, where the ink people themselves can live in. So that was pretty cool to see. I hope Bendy and the Ink Factory comes out soon, and not just for PC like Bendy and the Dark Revival was, then like a couple years later finally comes on to consoles for the Switch or PlayStation 5. I hope it comes right onto PlayStation 5 or Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch 2, because that would be awesome to play it right away. Anyway, that's what I got for you. If you liked Bendy and the Dark Revival or Bendy and the Ink Machine, leave a comment saying which one you prefer. Me personally, I would say, based on, well, it's your preference. If you like just exploring and running into the occasional enemy and occasionally having the jump scare, I'd say go for Bendy and the Ink Machine. But if you like stealth horror, I would go for Bendy and the Dark Revival. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to the channel, or you can click on the video right here or right here. And yeah, I'll see you next time.